Hey everybody, I hope you had a great weekend. I'm just going to get right into it. There's a lot here. I'm kind of going to go in order of not so great to banger in my opinion. I got a chance to get my hands on a lot of stuff that I really wanted for a while, especially on the Super Nintendo end. But we'll start with the 360, and it's not like this game is bad, it's just not really playable in this current state. I got this strictly for the nostalgia. I put a lot of years into this game ever since it came out in America, and like years of my life went into this game. It's probably the most played MMORPG that I've ever played. WoW is a close second, but everybody plays WoW, so. But yeah, this one definitely took a lot. That's this and Phantasy Star Online. And then next, we're going to do Game of Thrones, not the Telltale one. This is one done by Atlas. So this, I believe this is more of a hack and slash game. I have not played this before. I didn't hear great things about it, but I didn't have it in the collection either, so there it is. Next is Kingdom Under Fire Circle of Doom. Now, this is an Xbox 360 exclusive. I haven't played this either, so it's nice to see Xbox 360 games that I kind of wanted to play that I haven't had a chance to. So I'll go ahead and give this a shot. But games that I have played are the Earth Defense Force series, and I'm glad to have this back in the collection. I have this, and I have 2017, I want to say, in the collection. This is the first one that I really got into, though. So I'm not sure why I didn't have it in the collection, but I'm glad to have it back. And last pickups video, I mentioned that I didn't have Grid Autosport, and I found Grid Autosport. So this completes my entire Grid collection on the 360, which is nice. Alright, next is going to be PS3 games, and we're going to start with Genji Days of the Blade. Now, if you remember correctly, way back in the day when they were showing off the PS3, this was one of the showcase games, and they mentioned it being close to historically accurate of some sort. But then they mentioned a giant enemy crab. Like, go back and watch that. It's pretty hilarious. It was like the PS3 debut E3 conference. Next is Gundam Crossfire. Around this time, like, it was either a Dynasty Warriors Gundam game or it was a Gundam game that was kind of aiming towards the earlier 0079 generation and kind of like years right after. And these are more technical, like it feels more like a Steel Battalion game than it feels like a Gundam game. Like, you don't get the speed that the Gundam anime gives with a lot of their stuff. Like, when this came out, I believe Gundam Seed was out, and you went from watching Gundam Seed to playing something like this, and it is night and day. And to this day, I still think the Battle Assault or the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games are the closest thing you're ever going to get to that. I believe Gundam Breaker is pretty good too, and I have that. I still have yet to actually play it though. Next is PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Now, I have constantly said that this is the we have Smash Brothers at home game for people who own the PlayStation and didn't have like a Wii. But this is pretty fun in its own right, you know, like, especially because it comes with characters that aren't just Sony characters. Like, it has Dante from DMC, it has Heihachi, I mean, there was a couple other ones, like Raiden, which I played a lot with Raiden when I originally had this. Raiden and Ratchet were like my two mains. But yeah, this was actually pretty fun. And I played it a lot on the Vita. I think I still have it for download on the Vita. But speaking of Sony IPs, I've God of War Ascension. I'm still looking to get the God of War Master Collection, the one that has 5 games in it. But I really liked this game when I first played it, and I might give it another playthrough again. Santa Monica they really don't miss with God of War games, honestly. Next is the God of War Collection. This is just the 1 and 2 remastered, so I have no reason to put the PS2 games into my PS3, even though I could. But now I don't have to put those 2 games in there. I can just do this. Next is Journey Collector's Edition. Now, I was looking for this game for a while, then I wasn't ready to pay the price that they were asking for this. But Journey is an amazing game. Flow's pretty fun. Flower's very Like, it looks nice. And then it has a couple of little mini games too, which I didn't play any of these when I first had this game, but I'm honestly gonna probably play Journey the moment I put this in. So there's that, and we have 2 more to go. Tekken Hybrid is next. Now this is going to be Tekken Tag HD, which honestly, the original Tekken Tag I always thought was way more fun. Like, I feel like it was the first time they did it, and like it still had Jin's old moveset from 3, and it was solid. So I was kind of in the middle period between Jin's Tekken 3 moveset and then Jin's Tekken 4 moveset, which was vastly different. So lastly for the PS3 is gonna be Ratchet and Clank Collection. It's gonna be, I believe it's the first 3, yeah. And I haven't played a lot of Ratchet and Clank. I played the PS5 version, like with Into the Nexus or whatever I think it's called, and I played the one of the ones for PS4. I think there was only one for PS4. Don't quote me on it. I know I played one for PS4 though, but I didn't play 1 through 3, and so it's nice to get this on the PS3. And since I can record the gameplay, I can share with everybody how I do on that. Next is going to be 3 Genesis games, and they're games that I probably should have already had, but we'll start with Space Harrier 2, and Space Harrier 1's pretty good. This is kind of just more the same. It's not a very expensive game, but honestly, if you like the first Space Harrier, it's going to be the same kind of stuff, honestly. Next is Super Thunderblade, and I had this before, but it was water damaged, and I could barely get it to go. I maybe got it to turn on like twice, but I kind of wanted to get it back, and I got it in decent shape this time, like no water damage, so glad to have it in a playable state. Now this one here is kind of a personal favorite of mine. It's Tiny Toon Adventures Acme All-Stars. Now, I have a kind of a story behind this game. Like, I played a lot of this game back when I was a kid, and my Aunt Angela visited me, and I actually gave this to her as a gift, like a parting gift. And you don't have to worry about giving it back to me. I have another copy, and it's right here. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy playing this probably with my son when he gets a little bit older. But it's a fun game. This was, I feel, Mario Strikers before Mario Strikers was a thing, if that makes sense. And it's for the Genesis, so it's not a Nintendo IP, obviously, but yeah, that's pretty fun. So next is going to be a solid stack of Super Nintendo games, and we're going to start with kind of like the worst one in my opinion that I got and work our way down. So we have Alien vs. Predator. Now, a lot of people bought this game thinking it was going to be like the Capcom beat 'em up, but what people don't know is that the Capcom beat 'em up actually came out a year after this game did. So they kind of played themselves, really, if they thought they were going to get something that hadn't even been released yet. But it is a beat 'em up. It's fun to a point, but it's not the best thing. Like, honestly, if you're going to do a beat 'em up, there's Knights of the Round, there's Final Fight 2, 3, there's Final Fight Guy, there's plenty of different ones. This one, I like the cover to it, and I remember having fun with it when I was a kid, so I got it. This is solely because I'm a RoboCop fan, yeah, like a huge RoboCop fan, and this one is better than Alien vs. Predator, but it's not the best thing in the world either. The case that this originally came in was like this hard plastic, like black plastic case. It looked completely different from any other paper case you were going to get for the Super Nintendo. But honestly, it's not the best game, but it's still pretty fun. And then speaking of not the best game, so we have Lagoon, and this is an action RPG. This was kind of like a top-down, trying to be Zelda before Zelda came out kind of thing. I honestly, there is a plenty. Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore, you have Illusion of Gaia, you have Zelda. Play those definitely before you play this. The soundtrack's pretty good though. Next is World Heroes 2, which it's a port of the arcade game. So the arcade game's going to be better, Neo Geo game's going to be better, but this is actually not a bad version. You're just not getting like Neo Geo AES, I spent $1,000 on this graphics. You're going to get, I spent $23 on this graphics. So expect that. but it's still a pretty fun game. Yeah, on to the next. We have Wolfchild. When the main character is like all wolfed out, because you turn into him eventually, he reminds me of the wolf character from Contra Hardcore, if you remember his name. And I cannot remember for the life of me right now. But this is another beat 'em up, cycler beat 'em up. It's better than Alien vs Predator for sure. You have long range weapons, and I believe you have like certain energies on them and stuff like that. I haven't played a lot of this game, but I do remember playing it when I was younger. I think I rented it one day. I can't remember, but yeah. So I kind of wanted it just to have it, just to see if I can give it another crack. Next is Cold Shadow. Now this is a fun game, and honestly, Disney, when it came to Disney games, they hardly ever miss. Like, especially if like Capcom was involved. But I know that they went Buena Vista for a couple of things in the 16-bit realm, and they kind of had their own studios. But they still did pretty good. Like, I remember the Mickey, like I think a Mickey game or two was really good on this. Like, this was great. I want to say Quackshot was pretty fun, but I felt like this was the best one of like the Disney era Disney games. Next is ActRaiser 2, and I will admit I like the first ActRaiser a lot more, even considering that this is pure action. This is like a pure beat 'em up. You lose the city building and guarding aspect of the first one, and the combat I felt in this was slower, which is weird because it's focused on combat and it's still slower than the first one. But it's still a fun game, honestly. It is hard. I will say that. Do like the stage that you right next to the one you start with first, because it's only going to get harder from there. Next is Phalanx. Now, this is a game that a lot of people remember that has the old dude on the cover, and I think so this is what the cover looked like, but I couldn't do it. Like, I really couldn't. This is borrowed from, I believe it's a GBA redo of it. So I went ahead and made a cover out of that, and I thought that was way cooler than the old man with the banjo. Alright, last two. So I played this earlier, Biker Mice from Mars. This is a isometric racing game. I'm not a huge fan of isometric racing games, especially not ones that are expensive, but this was pretty fun. I was pretty hooked on this when I started playing it. Like, I played it to test it, and then I just kept the password when they gave it to me, and then I just kept beating cups after cups. So I kind of grown attached to it, so I'm kind of glad I bought it. All right, next is my kind of like my highlight. So it's Axelay, and this game is a vertical and horizontal shooter, and you have 3 different weapons. They're kind of forgiving with you with these weapons. Like, you can use the weapons, you get hit, you lose them, so it's not like a one-shot death. You live farther than that. But it looks, for a game that's not using an FX chip, and that's honestly, that's just basically a space shooter, this looks great. And the weapons are very intuitive. They all have a use, and just the way the scaling happens, it happens so smooth. And I can understand why this game is like nearly $100, because it is a very fun game. I'm really glad I traded for it. Big shout out to Gamers Alley in Gastonia. They were a huge help in getting some of my trades cycled through, got me some trade credit, got me the games that I wanted, and they were really cool, super nice. They didn't let any games leave their store without them being in pristine condition, so shout out to them. And I think that's going to be everything. I'll go ahead and run the tally here in just a little bit. You guys have a good rest of your week.